Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Steelers.com and welcome to the wrap-up show presented by UPMC Health Plan. I'm Mike Prisuta. I will be joined momentarily by Max Starks, but before we get the wrap-up show rolling, it's our pleasure to take it down to the playing surface at Chuck Noll Stadium and welcome inside linebacker Myles Jack to the program. Myles, thank you for taking a few minutes. How's it going down there? Okay, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make that happen, but
Okay, I'll give you one of these.
Max, we will introduce you now to the show, and we'll start with Myles Jack's day. It was a pretty eventful one. He got a look at Najee Harris in 7 shots. He got a look at Najee Harris in backs on backers, and he got a look at Najee Harris in team run.
Jack had a great day today. Coach Tomlin made sure that in the first backs on backers matchup, it was going to be Myles Jack and it was going to be Najee Harris to start things off, to give a tempo of what was to be expected, especially for these young guys that were here. And I look at it and it was a good day. I mean, Myles Jack is a very physical downhill linebacker, but also has the ranginess that you're looking for to be able to cover sideline to sideline. He had a rough one on the first set, and then the second one, he came back and had a great move on Najee. I almost had him off his feet at one point. And then you talk about 7 shots, running up the middle. Najee wins one of those battles, getting into the end zone on the first one. But then after that, it was a stalemate the rest of the way. So if this is what's to come of pads and of iron sharpening iron, as Mike Tomlin likes to say, then we have a good outlook, and Myles Jack is really making a name for himself.
Yeah, I'm wondering if he's ever been tasked with tackling the star running back on the team that he's played on before. But that's what you do here. Najee Harris running for a touchdown in 7 shots, and then a fade pass from Mitch Trubisky to George Pickens falls incomplete, and then they try a run with Najee Harris. Robert Spillane and DeMonte Kazee making the tackle short of the goal line, and then finally Spillane batting down a pass that ended Trubisky's participation in 7 shots. Kenny Pickett working number 2 today, and throughout the day. What do you make of that little change up in the rotation?
I think it's interesting. When you're talking about quarterback competition, you're obviously trying to make sure you get rotations so that you see guys in different situations. And especially with the pads on, this was a perfect opportunity for the Steelers to come out and see what it looks like. Can Kenny Pickett run with the 2s? And how does Mason Rudolph respond to running with the 3s? I don't think this is a permanent thing, but I thought it was a good change-up for the day just to see how guys operate with different receiver sets and different offensive line in front of them.
Okay, I think we've got our technical difficulties figured out, so let's try to throw it down to the field. Myles Jack, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Great that I can hear you and see you. I was just talking with Max Starks and wondering aloud, have they ever told you to go tackle the star running back on the team you play for? Because they asked you to do that a lot today with Najee Harris.
I'm sorry, say that one more time. It's a little shaky. I think you said something about tackling.
Yeah. Have you ever been asked to tackle the star running back on the team you play for in practice?
Yeah, no, that's not a regular thing. But at Steelers practice, I see us every day. We're going to get some tackling in, so it's fun. It won't be the first time in the preseason where you do it. So it's always great. We always have some type of competition, and it's been great.
And you saw number 22, Najee Harris, in that 7 shots drill. You got to go against him in backs on backers to kick that off, and also in the team run period. How'd you fare? It looked like a pretty good afternoon for the defense again today.
Yeah, we had some good battles there. I feel like he got the better of me in the blocking drill, but as the day went on, we had some good battles, and I feel like the defense is putting together a good camp. We just got to keep it up, continue that mentality, and I think we'll be flying around a lot this year. It's a lot of good guys on the defense.
Interesting rotation you guys have going with yourself, Devin Bush, and Robert Spillane at those 2 inside linebacker positions. How's that going so far?
It's been good. Coach has been keeping a cool rotation, keeping us fresh, just allowing all of us. I've been learning from those guys because they've been here for 4 years. So defense is defense, but there's just little intricacies that I'm trying to figure out and pick up on as we get live. And they've been great. They've been helping me, and it's been fun. I think we're going to have a very deep group.
Myles, last thing for you. How are you enjoying this atmosphere here at St. Vincent College?
Man, I've been trying to tell guys this isn't regular, man. All these fans out here. I think they said we had like anywhere from 15,000 to 17,000. So that it's really cool. It's like a game environment. The fans are into it, and Yeah, it's really cool, man. I guess people don't work around here.
Myles, we really appreciate the time. Thanks for hanging in there with us. Good luck the rest of training camp.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That was Myles Jack, inside linebacker. You know, I got a chance to interview him for Steelers.com when the Steelers signed him. And
Yeah.
the enthusiasm, Max, then was what you just heard. Now, very happy to be a part of this.
Well, I could say, especially when you know you've got a defense that's gonna back you up on whatever type of play you have. To know that you got Cam Hayward, you've got T.J. Watt, you've got a Devin Bush or a Robert Spillane, and then you have what will be a Minkah Fitzpatrick on the back end and Terrell Ebb. I mean, you can't help but be excited because you think about where he came from in Jacksonville. Yes, they had a couple of years where they were, pretty good, but then the last couple of years have just been rough for Jacksonville. And so to come here, understand what that tradition, especially at that middle backer position, you can't help but be all smiles.
Now, back to the quarterback rotation
Yes.
we were discussing. It had been Mitch Trubisky, Mason Rudolph, Kenny Pickett. Today it was Mitch Trubisky, Pickett, Rudolph. The reason that a coaching staff might change things up in this manner.
Well, I think it's strictly to see guys operate under duress. When you're looking at how this quarterback competition has to be, you've got to be able to mix up where guys are playing, where they're practicing, who has more experience, who needs more experience, because you often think, especially, people look at this as a demotion for Mason, but Mason's also been here for 4 years. So he's done a lot of this. He's seen a lot of this. Kenny Pickett has not. And maybe they're saying, okay, well, let's put Pickett in the second position to get around a little bit more experienced guys, because the third team we know is usually rookies and very young and new players. So let's see how Kenny responds to more veteran players in the lineup and in the rotation. And now, I don't think this is a permanent change. I don't think this is what we're doing going into Seattle. But I think for today, first day of pads, we got a lot more pads ahead for this week. And especially, I think it'll be more important to see how that rotation looks at Friday Night Lights down at Latrobe Stadium on Friday evening.
Some of us had a chance to talk with Cam Sutton today before practice, and I asked Cam if he thought the defense was winning more often than losing. And he said, they're winning some, they're losing some. I thought he might have been being a little diplomatic. He saw it differently than I've been seeing it. I think the defense is well ahead. What say you?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, you have to pull punches, right? Because, eventually a lot of these guys on this field are going to be your teammates. And you have to understand what we call practice etiquette, right? Decorum on the field. But more often than not, I think you have to be very democratic about it, right? You don't know where every tackle's going to lead. You don't know if it's going to be sure-handed and shells. But today, pads, take them to the ground. We knew where they stood today, and the defense definitely had a solid day today. There were some bright spots with the offense, but there's still a lot more work left to do on the offensive side of the ball to catch up to speed with what the defense is already doing as far as creating a gel for each other.
When those guys sit in the video room tonight and watch the tape, what's going to be emphasized going into tomorrow on the offensive side?
Block the guy from the offensive line. Block the guy in front of you.
That's not too technical?
Not too technical. Oh, here's a more technical one. Catch the balls that are thrown to you. That's a very technical one. But I think when you look at it, there's a lot of things that they're testing out, a lot of things. I thought there were some really good screens in the screen period today, or the pass under pressure period. So you look at that and you say, okay, there's bright spots. Najee getting the end zone in 7 shots on a run play. There's a lot of things to build off of. It's just that consistency, and this is only day one of that. How do you react from day 1 to day 2 is really going to be a big emphasis moving forward now that you have the pads on and you're out of the acclimation period.
I want to make sure I got this correct. Offensive improvement lies in blocking and catching.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Throwing, you can put that in there. Running, you can add a bunch of them. But
the basic stuff.
The basic stuff, But I think it's when you have new guys in there that this is what it is. Defense will always be faster than the offense as far as catching up to speed and your responsibilities. Offense, because there's a lot more moving parts and a lot different things that you have to create terminology-wise, blocking scheme-wise, guys relaying that information. It takes a little bit more time. And like I said, Friday will, I think, be the biggest barometer. This was the first introduction to see if guys are tough, to see if guys can actually live up to what they might have put on film in spiders and shorts. Can you live up to that when you have pads on, right? When the thigh boards are in, when the shoulder pads are on, and can you actually go out there and be bigger than you are? I thought there was a couple of guys that did that offensively today as I was watching numerous drills.
Last thing for you, Max. Backs on backers. What got your attention there?
Jalen Warren, number 30, the rook. Had a great day today. Coach Tomlin called him out. In fact, he made him go back-to-backs. You know, when Coach Tomlin's requesting the back-to-back and not a position coach, that means you did a good job. That's his way of complimenting you or patting you on the back. And he asked him to go and have a second shot. And he was one of the guys I noticed was not afraid to, we call it putting your face in the fan, Mike. So it means you're willing to step up and take on contact and also be able to give that contact back. You know, everything else is kind of 50-50. Najee had a solid day, but we expect that from Najee. Benny Snell was decent today as well. But I think it was looking at that young guy, the one guy you weren't expecting. I thought Grenard Avery, he got called out, and then he went back on the tight ends and gave you a really nice set. But Kevin Rader, probably of the tight ends, probably had the best day of them. Zach Gentry has to work on some things, knock the rust off, get a little bit lower. We know that you're 6'8", but don't act like you're 6'8" in pass pro. And Connor Hayward had some good and had some bad, what you expect from a rookie. And I really liked the start of it, but I think linebackers won it, but there were some bright spots and some gems on the offensive side.
Max, great stuff. Let's do some more tomorrow.
All right, let's do it. If I don't break the set ahead of time.
Even if you do, we'll work around that. For Max Starks, I'm Mike Prisuta. Thanks for tuning in to the wrap-up show presented by the UPMC Health Plan. Thanks for finding us, and we'll see you again soon.